Welcome to Echoes in the Gallery. I am your host, Susan L. Sistrunk. As a lifelong artist and educator, it is my privilege to bring you my first original podcast set in a series of volumes. Each episode will air weekly on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Tonight, in episode 19, The Triple Cross, Gwen and Eric find a way to outsmart Tuturea and keep Ivanov on their side. Let us step into the gallery and begin. Episode 19, The Triple Cross. Gwen hung up the phone and looked at Eric. What are we going to do? During the call, Eric had been looking around the gallery, and he had started coming up with an idea. Let's change clothes. Then we are going to call Ivanov. Then you are going to call Jonathan. I have an idea. The three changed clothes while Eric explained his plan. Gwen had some cash in the safe. Luckily, Jonathan hadn't had time to wipe it out. She gave the money to both Eric and Jordan for expenses and put the remainder of the money left over from the forgeries in a bag. Jordan, Gwen instructed, go to the store and get us 3 burner phones. All their phones had been lost in the boat sinking. Jordan headed out as Eric called Ivanov with the news and prepared for the worst. Eric also explained the situation with the woman named Tuturea. At this, Ivanov went silent. He had been planning to take care of all of them after getting back the painting. With this new development, that didn't look like a good idea. Jonathan was definitely turning out to be a problem that needed to be solved. He hoped Gwen had the stomach for what needed to be done. Get over to my office so we can all discuss this. I think your plan is a good one. Bring the necessary materials, and bring the forgery. This is going to take some work. Eric had noticed a small cabinet marked jewelry-making supplies earlier in the stockroom. When he opened it, he knew his idea would work. The two of them began getting everything together. When Jordan returned, they programmed their phones, shared the numbers, and Gwen and Eric texted Ivanov. Okay, now call Jonathan. Gwen had been dreading this, and she desperately needed sleep. Eric could see how tired she was. We will catch some sleep at Ivanov's office. We can't stay here. At the office, 2 men he had worked with before met them at the door, and they took them to Ivanov's office. They met with an angry Ivanov. I should kill you all for everything that has happened. I trust there were no issues disposing of Yuri. The 3 had already agreed not to mention the yacht. They really didn't see that working out well for them at this point, so Eric just shook his head. I have a plan. Let's let these 2 get some sleep while we work out the logistics. Since we have a couple of loose cannons right now, it might be best if these guys, Eric motioned at Ivanov's men, stand watch. Good idea. This woman Tuturea may especially want harm to come to me, and anyone she thinks is on my side. Within the hour they had fleshed out their plan. Ivanov looked at Gwen sleeping, and then back at Eric. It is obvious you have feelings for this woman. You must keep those under control for what is to come. I actually have no problem with Gwen. She has proved herself quite useful. Can the boy be trusted? Absolutely. He worships Gwen. Eric could see it every time Jordan looked her way. Make sure it stays that way. In 2 hours, we need to get going. Make sure they are awake by then. I have some errands to run. I'm leaving a man here to make sure you stay put. I don't imagine you need reminding what will happen if you decide to run. I think we all prefer the status quo be kept. Eric knew they needed to stay in league with Ivanov for the time being. Now was not the time to go solo. They needed his resources to solve the immediate issue. 10 minutes before the meeting, Gwen walked up to Angelina's Cafe on California Street. She selected a table outside and ordered some coffee. Hopefully this worked. Ivanov and Eric would be handling the Rachel and Jonathan situation while she, supposedly, appeased Tuturea. Right on time, Gwen heard a "Good morning" from behind her, and Tuturea took a seat. Do not try running, Gwen. Sergei has you locked in his sights. I just want the painting and the diamonds. It should have gone much easier than this. Well, now you apparently have everything you wanted, Gwen stated, sliding the forgery over and handing Tuturea an envelope. My only question is, why involve us? You could have done most of this without us. There is strength in having someone available to take the fall. Now that Ivanov's man has turned on him and the two of you have partnered up, I have everything I need. Ivanov will suspect the two of you for everything. Case closed. Gwen kept calm and followed the instructions Eric had given her. Stay focused, he had said. Tuturea needs to leave the meeting feeling she has the upper hand. We will catch up with Tuturea and Sergei later. Well, congratulations. I hope you fare well with your spoils. You might want some therapy for your daddy issues. Gwen couldn't resist one last dig at this person. Make sure you tell Jonathan and Rachel hello for me. Tuturea smiled sweetly. Obviously, it was a checkmate for Tuturea in the insult area. Oh well. She wasn't really winning. She just didn't realize it. Gwen watched as the woman walked away with her supposed prizes. Gwen picked up the phone and dialed Eric. The transaction was made. She's convinced she has what she came for. Come meet us at the warehouse. It's almost time for Jonathan and Rachel to show up. During the time of her meeting with Tuturea, the team had been prepping the scene for the meeting with Rachel. Although they had no proof Jonathan would attend, Gwen was highly confident he wouldn't trust Rachel quite enough to make the drop alone. Inside the warehouse Ivanov owned, the stage was set. They would definitely be bringing the painting. The diamonds were another issue, though. Rachel would most likely have them on her to make a quick escape after the transaction, as she had no idea that Ivanov was her buyer, and she was actually selling Ivanov his own painting. Precisely on time, the door opened and Rachel walked in. One of Ivanov's men escorted her to the back. Her face dropped instantly as Ivanov's chair turned around. This concludes episode 19 of Echoes in the Gallery. Join me, your host, Susan Sistrunk, next week for episode 20, The Standoff. Thank you all for listening. Until next week, stay safe and love each other.